So friends, we come to the end of our study of the Beatitudes. I'm Pastor Janet Hellner-Burris of the Christian Church of Wilkinsburg, and it has been my honor to be a part of your reflections on the Beatitudes as the essential spiritual practices for such a time as this. Even though the last Beatitude is "Blessed are the persecuted," I have always believed that we should read the Beatitudes with the next 3 verses. For in those verses of Scripture, we discover who we become when we practice the Beatitudes. We become the salt of the earth. We become light in the world. Notice that it doesn't take much salt to season a dish, and so it is with you and me. We may despair in these days in which we are living that we can do anything about all the violence or about all the destruction of God's beautiful creation. We may at times feel hopeless, but Jesus tells us that what we do, even though it may seem so insignificant, whatever we do, however we practice these Beatitudes, it will be enough for Him to help heal the brokenness in our world. Whenever I teach the pastor's class, which is our church's tradition of preparing young people for baptism, your tradition might call it confirmation class, I take them into a crawl space above the church building. It's off of the attic of our church. And as we crawl into that space, I slam the door behind us, and suddenly we are plunged into darkness. And I have the young people name the darkness that's in their own hearts and the darkness that they see in the world. And I let them sit there in the darkness for a while to feel the heaviness, to feel what darkness does to the human heart. And then I light a single candle, and I place it in the middle of the circle, and I tell them, Jesus is the light of the world, and His light has never been overcome by the darkness of our world. I tell them to focus on Jesus as their light, and as they focus on that candle, suddenly they start to see the faces of everyone in the circle radiating His light. I ask them to look closely and see that the darkness is being pushed back as the light seems to expand and grow. And as we radiate Jesus' light, we become His light in the world. And so it is with the Beatitudes. As we practice these Beatitudes, as we incorporate them into our everyday lives, we carry Jesus' light into the world, and we radiate His light to a world in desperate need. So friends, let us recommit ourselves to living the Beatitudes every day, that we might be the salt of the earth, the light of the world that God so loves.